Near record drought conditions are taking a toll on much of Minnesota. The National Weather Service says last month was the 6th driest October in Minnesota recorded history. Here's a look at the latest drought conditions across the state, with much of the state experiencing at least moderate drought. The Red River Valley, especially up north, actually looks to be in the best shape compared to the Twin Cities and the southwest Minnesota. Alan Henry talked to climatologists about when we might see relief.
This is 5 months of precip that's missing, that we didn't get.
2022 has been an abnormally dry year for most of Minnesota, with enough precipitation missing to fill a kiddie pool.
Normally we're at around 28, 29 inches of rainfall for the Twin Cities, and we're at just a little over 18.
There's not much water in the soil at all right now. The top 2 feet is basically no water left in it.
The severity of the drought depends on where you are in Minnesota, but in certain bodies of water, it's easy to see the impact the drought is having.
Lake Minnetonka is the lowest it's been in 30 years. I'm starting to see wetlands begin to dry up. People are having trouble with their boats.
The cause of the drought? Any storms that have come through Minnesota are swerving before they hit the Twin Cities.
They're either passing off to our north or passing off to our southeast. We just happen to be in the zone, basically from the Twin Cities on the southwest part of the state where the drought's the worst, and we just haven't been able to get any moisture here.
Experts say any drought relief probably won't be seen for a long time, but there are short-term concerns.
With such dry fuels around the state, it only takes a little spark and you could have a fire quickly grow and possibly become out of control.
We'll take any moisture we can get at this point, but really we'll still be in this drought come spring unless something really major happens over the winter.
Alan Henry.
The Minnesota DNR says the majority of the state is at a high risk for fire danger, and that risk may go up today because of higher than normal temperatures and winds.